You know, people often ask me what the scariest thing I've ever experienced is. I used to not have an answer, but now I do. It happened just a few days ago, on my very first night training as a mobile security guard. Now, for those who don't know, a mobile security guard is basically someone who drives around in a patrol car, visiting different sites that clients have hired us to protect. I work in the Greater Toronto area, and this particular incident took place at a pharmacy and medical clinic in Mississauga. It was my first night, and I was with my supervisor, a pretty cool guy who was showing me the ropes how to do patrols, write reports, deal with alarms, you know, the usual stuff. Normally, if an alarm goes off somewhere, our dispatch team radios us and sends us to that location. But this time was different. We were just doing a routine perimeter patrol at the medical clinic. No alarm had been triggered. We pulled up around 1:15 in the morning, just to make sure everything was secure and quiet. But the moment we stepped out of the car and walked towards the building, we knew something was seriously wrong. First, the gate to the underground parking garage was wide open. Second, the main front door of the building was busted open. My supervisor just stood there and said, "What the dot? How is this possible?" If someone broke in, the alarm should be going off. I was just a trainee on my first night. I had no idea what to think. He mentioned this was a brand new contract for our company, so it was new territory for him too. We cautiously stepped inside the building. The air was thick and silent. Then, all of a sudden, my supervisor freezes and whispers, "Look, the elevator, ... it's going up." I looked over, and sure enough, he was right. The floor indicator was lighting up, moving from G1 to 2 to 3, and it stopped at level 4, the very top floor. My heart started pounding. "You think someone's in here?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. He just gave me a sharp nod and pulled out his baton. That was the moment a wave of pure dread washed over me. My stomach dropped, my breathing got heavy, and all I could think was, I hate this job. I don't want to be here, but there was no turning back. We walked over to the elevator, and my supervisor hit the button for the top floor. That ride up was the longest of my life. Adrenaline was coursing through me, and 1,000 worst-case scenarios were playing out in my head. What if whoever this is doesn't want to leave peacefully? What if they're waiting for the doors to open, ready to charge at us? The elevator bell dinged, and the doors slid open to the 4th floor. We were met with absolute darkness. No one was there waiting for us. A small wave of relief washed over me, but it was quickly replaced by a new kind of fear. We fumbled for the light switches, and the long, empty hallway flickered to life. My supervisor turned to me, his own face pale. "Stick with me," he said, his voice tense, "and get ready to bust this, ... We checked every room on that floor, our footsteps echoing in the silence. Nothing. We were completely baffled. Then, we heard it. Footsteps. They were coming from the stairwell, going down. Faster. My supervisor and I looked at each other and lunged for the stairwell door, ready to chase whoever it was. But as soon as we reached the door, the footsteps stopped, dead. Silence. The only thing we could hear was the sound of our own ragged breathing. What happened next is burned into my memory. My supervisor grabbed his radio. "4, call C25, he said, his voice strained. "Go ahead," the dispatcher replied. "Dispatcher, we need immediate backup. Please be advised, someone's in the building with us. They're hiding downstairs. They could be armed, waiting to ambush us." Hearing those words made the situation feel 10 times more real, and 100 times more terrifying. Dispatch told us to stay put, not to approach the suspect, and that backup was on the way. That's when I saw my supervisor start to panic. I mean, he was the lead, the experienced one, but I can't blame him. The whole thing was overwhelming and horrifying. He's only a couple of years older than me, so I just said, "Bro, don't worry. Backup will be here soon." Now, you might be thinking, why didn't you just take the elevator and get out of there? Well, the suspect was somewhere on the ground floor. The sound of the elevator would have been a dead giveaway. They could have been waiting right outside the doors for us. We were trapped. The suspect could have come up the stairs, but I guess they figured it was better to wait and try to surprise us from a corner downstairs. It felt like an eternity, but about 15 minutes later, we heard the front door open again. "Security," a voice boomed through the building. It was our senior supervisor. My supervisor radioed him immediately. "Sir, we're upstairs. Be careful. There's someone downstairs with us." A few minutes later, our senior supervisor met us on the 4th floor and told us to come with him to clear the building. So, the 3 of us went down. We checked everywhere, every floor, every room, every closet, every bathroom. Nothing. We found absolutely no one. We were on the 3rd floor, still scanning the rooms, when we heard the front door slam open and the sound of someone running outside. We rushed down to the ground floor as fast as we could, but by the time we got there, I'll tell you where it gone, it vanished into the night. My supervisor and I just stood there, completely in shock. We had searched the entire building. There was nowhere to hide. So, where had they been? Was this person just an expert at hiding, or was that medical clinic haunted? I don't think I'll ever know for sure. But what I do know is that it was, by far, the most horrific experience of my entire life. And the craziest part, this weekend, I'm scheduled to go back to that same site for another patrol. But this time, I'll be all by myself. Thanks for listening to my story. If you have any creepy work stories of your own, drop them in the comments below. And if you want to hear more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Stay safe out there.